Yo.
Like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Wrong isn't living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Stones Coma, yeah, this is what we do that. What we do that, what we do that, what we do that, what we do that, what we do that. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Stones Coma, this is what we do that. Do that. Welcome, yo, help. Somebody please gotta help. Running this thing like elf. Thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube Live, Big Q and the guys. If you ain't blind to die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out the chains for the championship. Tough looking on town, look down. Falcons, Bucs get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy and you probably smell the crooked referees are Roger Goodell. Yeah, money like this and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like this and I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma. This is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Network.
All right. Shout out to the mighty WHO DAT Nation. Welcome, welcome. And now rocking with the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys, where we have intense, entertaining, educating, and enlightened sports talk from your favorite sports fam. Shout out to the fam. Appreciate y'all for being in the live, man. We representing the mighty WHO DAT Nation. Listen, it's the coma. We in this thing. So big ups to you guys. Appreciate y'all for being in this live, man. Do your boy a service. Hit upon the like button. Also feel free to hold on here. Let me get it together here. Because sometimes this crap always resets my too. But big ups to you guys. Appreciate y'all for being in the live. Much love to everybody. So we up in this thing with the coma, man. Sorry about that little sign come up in, but it does happen with this goof ass software. For whatever reason, it tends to reset over and over again. So if y'all hear my sound change, notify me in the comment section. Let me know. So hopefully we'll be all right. All right, much love, man. Shout out to everybody, man. Scoop, shout out to you. Good to see you, my brother. Appreciate y'all for being in a live. Black Major is in this thing. OG Jerry, Jaden, big ups to you. Soldier of Many, what's up, my friend? Appreciate you. V Griffin's in this thing. All right, much love. Appreciate you. All right, and shout out to OG, man, for being a member for over a year. Much love. All right, big ups to Brother Gundam as well. Much love to Deborah. Much love to the Queen. We also have Desi in this thing as well. Much love. Appreciate all y'all. All right, much love. All right, DeQuinton, how you doing, sir? Says goodness, Sportscom actually got me. Hope everyone is having a blessed day. Who that from Chi-Town? All right, brother. Good to see you. Thank you, sir, for chiming on in this thing. Antoinette was popping with Antoinette. Much love to the lovely ladies of the stream. Brother Devon's in this thing. Brother Charles is in this thing. Much love. Sean, what's happening, brother? Me and my dog Sean agree on many things of Saints when it comes down to the Spurs and all. He's a Spurs man. I'm a Pelican man, but still all love and respect. So much love. Appreciate y'all, man. Listen, we're going to talk about a few things, man. And Brother Sean said, I don't care what ESPN saying. Indeed, that's true, bro. It's just something to kind of talk about dealing with the team. And we do know that going into the NFC South, and of course, ultimately, we're going to do a stream. We get all my brothers together from the NFC South roundtable and ultimately do a stream in which we're going to kind of delve into it individually about our teams and our perspectives, what we think or where they're headed. And to be quite honest with you, when you listen to a lot of the commentators, they don't expect the Saints to do very well. They've given them goofy grades and stuff like that. Low totals. Some people I've seen said that Saints will win as many as 2 games, 3 games. And I just find that very fascinating. I could buy that if we were a team we've lost a lot of people, got a bunch of young people coming in here. I don't see it as that such. Y'all know I've been doing this for a long time. I just got a feeling that I think we're going to win more games than what we did last year. Let's just put it to you like that. And my perspective is also, we're looking at the schedule. We know the teams will behave in different manners in different ways. But at the same time, man, listen, man, it's all about what Kellen Moore has in store for the black and gold. That's how that goes. And what that means is pretty much running game, defense, decent special teams should net you 8+ wins this year. That's all I'm saying, man. I know that ain't a lot, but 8+ is what I'm looking at. The NFC South is not incredibly dangerous. We're going to go over some of the people that they picked up, and then we're going to move into some other news and notes that have happened. Y'all guys got any questions or comments in the section, please feel free to throw them in there. What's up, Jones Jr.? Who that to you, brother? Gregory. Much love, fam. Much love. Appreciate y'all. There you go. Black Major said, man, it's ready to shock the warrior. Yeah, that's right, man. And like I said, man, I said this on the Pelican post-game report last night when we talked about the Pelicans, right? The infrastructure, like the administrator, we've never had, like if you go talking just about the leadership, it's big on the success of how far we go. You can make a bunch of mistakes, right? You can make a bunch of mistakes, but if you fix the mistakes and head in the right direction, you'll see progress and you'll ultimately see the team shake back. Now, if the decisions line up properly, you'll see a quick progress. You'll see something happening. And they have teams before that have was dog water the season before, but all of a sudden they were able to have immense success very fast. Is that the Saints? Could that be the Saints? And like I've said before, the indicators to me is the fact that the only young part of the team is the quarterback, which is big, and the head coach, which is also very big. So two of the key leadership positions that you would need for a successful football team have new people there. Kellen Moore's never been a head coach before, but he's a pretty good offensive coordinator, right? We know that they picked up Tyler in the draft, and we have Spencer Rattler from last year. These guys will be the guys that will compete for the starting quarterback. Both of these guys are inexperienced, despite the fact that Spencer had a year on Tyler, and he turns 26 in September. These guys are still very inexperienced from the leadership position. So how do you win despite that inexperience is going to be key for the Saints. And that is indeed going back to the fundamentals, baby. Back to the fundamentals. Y'all know, running that damn ball, playing defense. Is this defense good enough to cause turnovers? Is this defense good enough to stop people from running on them? Did the Saints do enough? I say yes to the defense. Yes, indeed. When Coach Staley was able to make the trade, and listen, the Saints have been brilliant with the defensive acquisition. Just talking defense for a second, right? They've been absolutely brilliant with that. Them trading, what was it, a 7th-round pick to go and get Devon Gocho from the New England Patriots to bring him here? And people like kind of overlooked it. And I'm telling y'all, that's a big pickup. Because if you go back and watch him, he don't blow you out of the water like an Ndamukong Suh or some of these other guys, but he's steady and he's good at what he does. He just doesn't get any credit for it. Big move there, because all they have a solid 3-4 unit that up front, that interior, those 3 guys up front, they got to play hard. They got to be these monster guys that draw double teams to keep linebackers clean. So did they do enough? There. So you had them picking up Vernon Broughton from Texas with the 3rd-round selection. We still got Cam there. We still got other few people there. We still got Colin Saunders and Nate Shepard and Brian Bursey, who I really like a lot in this type of defense. So is that enough to stop what the Saints did from last year? Well, let's take a look, right? This is some of the standings from last year that they would have to overcome, right? During the 24-25 season, the Saints team stats, here we go, rankings as follows. 5-12 last year. Let me get it full screen for the family members, right? This is what we're dealing with. Yards per game, 320 yards per game is what the Saints did. That was 21st in the NFL last year, just speaking from an offensive standpoint. The points per game, 19.9, just under 20. That was 24th. Total yards per game, 379, just short of 380. That's 30th, man. 32 damn teams in the league. And then points against per game, 23.4. So you can't score 19 or 20 points a game and give up 23.4 points a game. That's how you end up 5-12. You can't allow it. And then the turnover ratio, you can see right there, -2. That's 17 in the NFL. That's not going to help you. Now, the prime numbers, if you take a look at it, passing yards per game, you see it there, 23rd, rushing yards per game, 14th, middle of the pack. That's improvement. The Saints have all these running backs, and you could very well say that you can see a 4 running back stable there. We'll hold on to that first. But you can see some improvement there. The 3rd down conversion rate was sucky, 35.2%. That's about the back of the NFL, right? But the defense, focusing on that right now. The rush yards per game, 238.5, which is 27th in the NFL. The rushing yards allowed, 141.41, which is 31st in the NFL. The sack numbers was 39 sacks. That's 18th in the NFL. The picks were 14, which is 11th, which is respectable, almost top 10, right? So the measurement and the move of what the Saints had to do as a team defensively, when you come in, you're like, man, listen, we have a schematic change moving from the 43 defense to the 34 defense with 3 down linemen, 4 linebackers, blah, blah, blah. So as you move into that, how do we then turn around and talk about stopping the run, sniffing out the run, preventing other teams from running on us while being able to get sacks, elevate sacks, go from 18th in the NFL to top 10. And really to turn around in the secondary, giving up 238.5, 27th ranked secondary, which is going to be interesting within itself. But the Saints have done a brilliant job of bringing in personnel for this defense. The big part is, the stankiest part is stopping people from running on it. Did they do enough? And that's where it'll stand. That's where the system will work. You still have guys like Demario Davis and Pete Werner, and then you have the acquisition or the change of Granderson and Chase Young to linebackers there as well to take advantage of their athleticism. So you have an interesting defense, and even you have some insurance policy for Demario Davis and Pete Werner if injuries start to impact the team. You got good linebackers like Stutzman that can come in. He's young, but he'll have the experience to be able to pick up. So when Demario Davis leads, he can step right on in and kind of champion or lead that young defense next to Pete Werner. So that's where it stands. Running of the football. The Saints must run the ball, which they were middle of the pack last year, 14th, and they have to stop the run, which they were 31st in the NFL, baby. So it starts there. Did the Saints do enough defensively, man, in those categories? That's the thing. Now, secondary-wise, if you take a look at what the secondary is, you can understand that we're probably going to get some more help there. Alante Taylor, Kool-Aid McKinstry, what's the other brother name over there? Kool-Aid, Alante, Ugo, the young brother from Louisville, Quincy, brother Quincy, and a few others. They got Isaac Yiadom they added. But something tells me the Saints going to add another veteran in that group, whether it's Asante Samuel, whomever. We're going to add somebody else to that group of cornerbacks because the Saints been looking and prying and poking and looking around. And ultimately, I think they're going to add another veteran to that group to help out those cornerbacks. So in the end, the secondary and stopping of the run on the defensive side of the ball are key. Kellen Moore, when he comes into it, his key focal point will be running of the football. Is the Saints offensive line good enough to be a top 10 unit, right? Like rushing the ball last year, middle of the pack there that we see what they had going on. The rushing yards per game, 141 was dead last. But when you look at the offense, that's what they gave up. But if you look at the running attack last year, it was 14. Toward the back end of the year, when the injuries mounted, the backups wasn't good enough to keep to be relied upon to open the lines. That was a problem. Not just having any backups to fill out the depth chart, but you also have to have people that are good enough to step in. They don't have to be as good as a McCoy. That would be nice if they were. But you got to have guys, because when you go to the backups, there's going to be a drop-off in talent. But despite the fact that they might not be as fast or as smart as the guys ahead of them, because they're backups, those guys will still be tasked with being able to at least being able to be a good run offensive lineman where you open up lanes for running backs to keep your offense balanced. The key to it, and it's very clear, is if the Saints are a good running team this year and they stop the run on defense, they don't have to be the number one team in the NFL. But if they're middle, if they can be top 12, somewhere around in there and doing these things, they could have some success and look at that schedule. A lot of the teams on that schedule are fourth place teams. Now, there'll be some improvement, but at the same time, like I said, I can't totally and will not agree with commentators or people, whomever, are saying that the Saints are going to be a 2-win team and they got the Saints picking Garrett Nussmeier in the draft next year. It won't happen. The Saints are not going to be that low. They're not going to be that bad. You got, like I said before, you only have youth at two positions. And even though they're important, they're still two positions. Everywhere else is talent there. It's veteran talent, deep vet talent. It ain't a burnt out ass team, right? So you have guys, you got young, inexperienced quarterbacks, but everybody knows the way around winning with an inexperienced quarterback is to have a mean, fierce running attack. So hence, that's why you have all these other guys here, the Devin Neals, the Cam Akers, the Clyde Edwards-Hilaire's, to go along with Kendrick Miller, because they are going to be a part of the running back room going into the season. He's going to have to run the football. And Stahl, who's the tight end, is probably going to end up being the fullback to help do this. So that's the key to it. They're going to have to open up and run. Now, the Saints offensive line, man, we've known that that's something that they have to improve. So this is some of the stats that I want to kind of get into with you guys, talking about how good are the Saints and can we actually do something here? Now, let's look at this, man. Let me kind of go ahead on and kind of hit that. Shout out to you guys. Y'all feel free to hit the like button as well as we kind of keep this thing moving and grooving and moving into it. Now, this is a breakdown of what ESPN provided on some of the stuff dealing with some of the people that I don't focus on the NFC. We're just going to focus on our counterparts in the NFC West, because we don't need to be talking about the San Francisco 49ers and all these other people. We need to keep it inside of the division with some of the guys that we'll be competing with. Here's Atlanta Falcons right here. That's not focusing on the grade, just the fact that what these guys did while we were doing what we were doing. They traded and moved around. They got help with James Pierce Jr. to add to the team. They got a lot of people to kind of assimilate into their teams to see what they can do. They felt like, offensively speaking, that they're where they're supposed to be, and they need help defensive-wise and rushing of the passer and getting pressure on the quarterback and being better that way, maybe some help in the secondary, all this kind of stuff. That's what they believe, that they have this year is the year in which they rise to prominence and go from where they were in the NFC South last year, which was, I believe, second place behind the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, to being a team that takes the South. So another year, Penix there. They got a lot of the guys they added. So, and of course, they kept Kirk Cousins, obviously, because of the fact that they know they want to have a veteran quarterback in case injuries hit them, although he's making a ton of money. But adding these draft picks, these two really good, in Walker and Pierce, and adding Leonard and on a 1-year deal, it's going to be interesting to see what this team does. So it's, to me, like I said before, Atlanta, the fail kinds. Listen, you can only fail so many times before you slip up and do something right? It's only so many times you can fall down and bump your damn head before you realize, hey, man, maybe I need to pull that carpet up because, I don't want to keep tripping over it. We know they got the birdie brain thing going on there, and the fellas getting their eyes every now and again. But how long you think the Falcons going to keep on screwing up before they get it right, bro? At some point, they're going to get it right. The birdie brains is going to get it right. But anyway, yeah, it's a part of the thing. And plus, they're ran by a former Saint man. See, even though I want to, kind of, talk mess at the fail cons, because that's what we do, right? As the true black and gold diehards, we always kind of shoot, some friendly jabs at our Falcon family across the way. We'll shoot some shots every now and again when it fits, baby. We'll do that. But they're ran by a former Saint man. So eventually, you know what I'm saying? Because the man had a lot to clean up over there. The people who was out there screwing up and doing all kind of crazy stuff. But at some point, they got a former Saint black and gold man there. He going to turn them around sooner or later, fam. They're going to start doing a few positive things sooner or later because they ran by a Saints man. We're going to get it together for you, baby. We ain't coming in there screwing nothing up. If you picking us, we on code, baby. We coming in there. We gonna move all that, get them feathers, see all them feathers, get that shit out the corner over there. You know what I'm saying? That kind of stuff. We gonna come up in there and we're gonna be throwing it out. Y'all get that mold off the wall over there. All that, we're gonna be doing all that. We're gonna make sure we get it all cleaned out nice and good. We're gonna restore order, and then we're gonna be about the business of winning. That's what we're gonna do. That's how we do. So anyway, eventually they're going to turn it around, fam. They're going to. And like I said, I'm just messing with them. But at the end of the day, Fano knows, what he needed to do to turn this around, and trust and know that eventually they're going to start climbing. Eventually they will. So anyway, let's move on to our team, the black and gold. Of course, you see during the ESPN gave him a D grade. Biggest move, lucking into QB Derek Carr's retirement. I don't really see it as a retirement because we kind of talked about that the last couple of years about the protection mechanism that was Dennis Allen that built around him. We demonstrated that. We talked about it ad nauseum on the coma, and we talked about how the moves was made, all code moves was made to protect the man. When his protection mechanism was no longer there, then he would be fully exposed to the outright unmitigated heat and fire of the WHO DAT Nation, man. And that is a fierce place to be. That's a fierce place to be because we are loving people. There's not too many people we're going to sit up there and just lay waste to, but there was just something about the character, something about all of the stuff that was going wrong that just incensed us. It's like, man, this is some, what? So it just cleared itself away, and I ain't delving into it where it was this or that and the third, whatever it was, it's gone, become, and I'm happy because it frees up guys like Tyler Shuck and Spencer Rattler to get in there and make things happen. Plus the money situation kind of alleviates going into the future. Now we got all this kind of stuff going on because we really couldn't afford the man from the jump. It was a bad gamble, and it just paid off. You know what I'm saying? It really did. So outside of that, him moving and getting past that, the biggest moves for the team moving forward, outside of the change and all that kind of stuff, Kellen Moore will come in here. He's going to run the ball. He's going to try to run the ball. The defense has improved. I like the offensive line coach that we had here. He brought him back. I like DJ Pagnetic, the running game coordinator. I like our wide receivers coach. I like what we're doing here. I like the offensive people that we have here because the temperament is set to be a rough, tough running team with a nice defense. Because this kind of goes back to the blood to the blood of the black and gold in the Dome Patrol era. And I'm not trying to compare it to. All I'm saying is that when you were really popping back in the day, and this is before Coach Payton came in with his innovation, offensively speaking, that original success came with that thumping defense and a fierce running attack. And we had Bobby Hebert, who was doing pretty decent at the quarterback position when he's back there. But the Saints running attack, guys like Dalton Hilliard and all these guys were, and the Dome Patrol, how fantastic they were. That and excellent special teams play. We had hell of a punter. We had a hell of a kicker. We had really good talent there. So really solid special teams play, a rock'em sock'em defense, and a strong running attack will give you an opportunity to play in the postseason. And, it just simply is what it is. So going back to the 34 look, it's going to be interesting because all of the assets that the Saints have accumulated have the ability to slide and move to different places. Brian Bresee will be a perfect 34 end. The linebacker switcher ends of the athletic tall guys like Granderson and Chase Young. How would they look at outside linebackers? You see what I'm saying? It's going to be interesting. The addition of Justin Reed at the safety position, another smart safety play with Tyrann Mathieu. Even the acquisition of really solid draft picks like Danny Stutzman and Jonas Sanker add depth to it. And the Saints did a phenomenal job of even bringing in undrafted talent. The guys that they brought in, the undrafted guys like with Jacine Davis. Y'all seen tape on that guy? This is going to be interesting. Even Isaiah Foskey, who couldn't find a spot in the Saints defense, we'll see how he looks as a linebacker in the 34 look. But the Saints have a lot of depth there, and usually when you have that 34 look, you got to keep them linebackers, man, because you never know what could happen. But yeah, it's looking really good. The Kelvin Banks Jr. thing, which the first brilliant move after making the drafting or selecting the Kelvin Banks, was making him a blindside tackle right out the bat. You came out of college, that's where you're going to play. Comfortability, you got to get used to the game, but the guy's good. Moving Tolly to right tackle, phenomenal move. Because Tolly was handling business blindside, now you're going back to right tackle. That dude going to go through the roof just like that. Tolly Fuaga and Kelvin Banks Jr., phenomenal. Love those moves because you got to have the bookends. You have a guy like one of the best centers, if not the best center in the game, and Eric McCoy there, who has to stay healthy. And then, of course, Ruiz has to elevate game. We talked about that. You got to step that up. And then left guard Penny is there competing with Dylan Runs. So we'll see how that looks. But, man, listen, you have Penning left tackle, Penning right tackle. Now you got Penning left guard. So he had the blind side tackle. He sucked on that right tackle, played pretty decently. It was decent. It was decent early, kind of didn't look all like that later on in the year on tape. But moving to the left guard position should be easier on him. Now, how fast he picks it up with that guy on his back, I don't know. That'll be a challenge to wait and see. And we got experience in the wide receivers, the tight end positions. The question about whether we can get another wide receiver there could help. But I do think that the Saints ultimately are going to end up adding folks when we get to the training camp. We're going to end up getting that, baby. We're going to end up getting that. Shout out to John Butler, man. Appreciate you, brother, listening to us via X. What's up, Stace? Shout out to Stacy. But speaking about the administration, right? I mentioned this earlier before I got in this. The Saints are headed in the right direction, right? The money from Carr is going to clean up. The young quarterbacks are going to get better. They're going to push each other. So I think whoever wins, we win, because I think both of those guys are going to be good, especially Spencer, in my opinion. I think Spencer's going to be good. So they're going to push each other, iron sharpens iron kind of thing. I think Kellen Moore is a young coach that has a good communication about him. That should be all right and innovative enough to move this type of team forward, right? I think Staley was a great call for the defensive coordinator. And we got Coach Galliano, who's a kind of holdover. He was the assistant underneath Rizzi, who's now in Denver with Coach Payton to take over the special teams. So we don't miss out there. I think this team here, man, listen, going to be better than a lot of people think we are. Which is fine. Keep thinking that BS, because that allows the Saints to fly right below the radar and not absorb any pressure, any national pressure about, the Saints are going to be 10 wins and they're going to go all this kind of stuff. It allows you to play without that unneeded pressure. Or we're an underdog, you maintain and hold on to underdog status for the entire season. Allow everybody else to be considered the favorites. You see what I'm saying? It works in so many ways, but like I said, the temperament also has to be there. So they've made some really solid signings and drafted very well. The undrafted guys are which is good, and we just have to keep this thing moving, man. And of course, we'll kind of talk about more of this as we kind of get it going. All right, so the Falcons is one of the teams. We talked about the Saints, and like I said, I just think that the Saints are going to be a lot better than people anticipate them to be. I think the black and gold is going to be a lot better than that. Let me see about bringing it to our Carolina brethren. Shout out to my P&P brothers, Dave and Shad. With the Carolina, very proud of the Carolina Panthers for making some moves there. Man, listen, all I can say in the end is they have taken a trajectory where they've gone like this. They rise slow and steady. They're really, to me, all the question marks. Are they ready to take the step? Is Bryce Young ready to take that step in his third year? Is he ready to take that step? Because they still, even though the offense has Ted McMillan to go along with what they have with Thielen and Xavier Legette, they have the tight end Travarius Sanders, who is a guy I scouted. I think he should be the starter there. They got a really good offensive line. They spent some money last year on those two guards, hunting the other guy to sit interiorly. So they got a very solid line. Some people say probably the best line outside of what they believe Tampa Bay has a decent line. But the question mark for Carolina is defense. Them linebackers. And some people say the secondary. So how good is it? Remember last year, they were pretty bad defensively. So how does that look? Because that's a lot within its face. Did they do enough defensively to get them in a position where they're not just getting walked on? They're just not one of them electric doors at the supermarket. You just walk up and touch the pad and the door swing open and let you in there, and you go up in there and get whatever you want. So is that what's going on? So it's a question mark. So it says, can the young quarterback take the step? My thing is about them just doing the research that I did. about Carolina. My question will always be about them coming into the season. How good is your defense? Who's going to be the linebackers that step up in that defense? Because all these defenses are going to run a 34 system. How good are you? How good is that defense? And I know we talked about, they did bring in Trevor Wharton to kind of help them there in the interior, but the linebackers and all this other kind of stuff, this will be what we looking at. So is Carolina ready to take that step? Did they do enough defensively to help themselves out? Hey, man, that's a fair question within his face. And eventually I'm going to kind of get Shad and them to kind of tone in on that and see what they think. And then, of course, finally, the Tampa Bay Skunkaneers. Now, listen, Tampa Bay been running this thing. You got to give the Buccaneers their credit. Tampa Bay been running this thing since Tom Brady left. He handed the keys to Baker Mayfield, and Baker Mayfield signed with us same time we signed the other guy we had. But it was the exact opposite effect, right? It was totally different. He went out there, he excelled in the system, and despite people leaving to go somewhere else to coach offensively, they were able to maintain success on the offensive side of the ball, and Baker became the successful quarterback we thought he was going to be when he came in to be Cleveland's guy. He assumed less pressure there, and he had all those weapons there. Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, and then they continue to add talent. The wide receiver they picked up from Ohio State's there. They got a couple other really good young wide receivers. They got some pretty good running backs, Bucky Irvin, Shad White, and a couple other guys they got there. The backups last year for Buccaneers, when guys at the top of the depth chart got hurt, the backups stepped up and stepped out. They not only stepped up, but they stepped out and handled the business like starters. And that is the key. That really would help Tampa Bay last year when some of them guys, them backup guys, who didn't play like backups, they played like starters. And that's the difference. When guys get hurt, you got to have guys that step in and step up and produce like starters. I know it's a lot to ask, but if you handling business with your scouting, you could be able to find some of them guys. You could find them. So, is Tampa Bay that team? A lot of people believe Tampa and Atlanta will be the teams that go to that next level. So we're going to see what's happening there, man. We're going to see. But me personally, all I'm saying is we go through the NFC South and talk about what this is about, in terms of, what is our chances? And the Saints' chances are good. We have a veteran-led defense. Demario Davis, Tyrann Mathieu, Justin Reed, Cam Jordan's in there, right? Brian Bressee's not a rookie. He knows what he's doing. You got Pete Werner there. You got all these other guys, Carl Grandison and Young, learning new positions in the 34 defense, but still in all. You go to the secondary, Alontae Taylor has been with the Saints for a while. You know what he do. We know Kool-Aid's young in the game, but we also realize that the great much of our defense is successful, veteran-led defensive people, vets that know what they're doing. That's a positive. On the offensive side, it's basically the same outside the quarterback position. You got AK-41 there. We know Kendre Miller's dealing with injury. He's healthy, but can he remain healthy? Well, they got insurance policies with Neal and with Devin Neal and Cam Akers and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. They got people. And the tight end position is okay, too. We don't know what Taysom's going to do maybe later on in the year. But Foster's supposed to be ready. Juwan Johnson got his bread. He ready to roll. We got young guys there like Matavo and the other guy, what's his name, Hawker. So we got some talent there, right? Jake Stahl, good blocker. So in the end, the Saints are not a team that you can look at and say, hey, man, they just too damn young. Nah, bro. Now, I'll be feeling different if Demario, Tyrann, all these other guys that we know gone. And you got young guys there to replace them. Yeah, you're going to have some turmoil. But where they have the youth at, you can kind of get around that a bit, just a little smidgen. If you run the ball and play defense, have a decent special teams, you should be all right. We've seen it happen before. How many times you seen other teams who got decent quarterback play, running attack, got some help there, defense was there, special teams was there, and they had success. Now you see phenomenal things happen on other places. Like it's different. Guys are different. Some people are more, they're a little bit more special. You've seen what happened with the Washington team with Jaden Daniels. I knew Jaden Daniels was going to be all of that and then some because he got gifts. He's smart. He's a team leader. He can make every throw. He's one of the fastest athletes on the field at any given time. And they put that man there. Look what he did. You got talent all the way around him. He just took advantage of the talent that was there. Is that the guys that we have? I'm not going to say that's what we got, but I'm saying to a degree because it's levels to all of this that there's still an opportunity there. I don't see the NFC South as a team, a division that is going to be just like one team is going to be far above all other teams. I just don't see that. So we'll see, man. We'll see. My crystal ball is in the shop, but it's all. All right, so anyway, let's talk more about it, man. Let's move on into it. This was an article that came out about the Saints being linked to a former LSU player. You guys probably heard about it, played for the different teams right there. And this was something that was made mention of. And like I said, if you literally take a look at some of the free agents that's out there that has a connection to Kellen Moore, you'd be like, damn. It'll really shock. Like some of the top remaining wide receivers all have ties to him. Whether it's Allen or Cooper, they all have its ties to him. And this is another guy, that's got time. And this makes sense to me because I was saying, man, you need a veteran offensive lineman that you can, back up there. And I know whether it's Dylan Runnels or Trevor Penning that run that left guard position, you still could use a Lyle Collins. I remember this was something I was saying a long time ago about the Saints going and get LSU players, and Dallas ended up picking up the man. He had a pretty decent career there. Then he moved on. But 31-year-old offensive tackle Lyle Collins suited up for the Bills recently. Injuries kept Collins off the field back in 2022. He expressed a desire to join the Saints. So Kellen Moore was with the Cowboys from 2015 to 2021. He knows Lyle Collins. Why? This definitely would make sense. This would make sense. This could be the guy. He won't work. He won't be expensive. Like we care about money, right? He won't be expensive, and he would fit perfectly because he played the tackle position. He can play the tackle position. He can be a decent backup tackle for you. You need veterans or a guy similar, right, to Lyle Collins. If you're looking in that direction for veteran backup offensive tackles, man, listen, they got a couple of them out there. But if you're the New Orleans Saints, you want to bring at least one of them. But no disrespect to Josh Ball and these other guys and Landon Young, but man, listen, man, you want to, listen, yeah, investigate this is all I'm saying. If he wants to sign, it won't be cheap. But listen, if you bring him in, I would have to say better than whatever backup offensive lineman you got. I mean, he'll play better for you. And y'all remember there was a lineman that we brought over from Carolina. What was the man name? He got hurt in training camp. And the Saints did a good job of bringing him a couple of years ago when this happened, but they bring in these veterans here to kind of balance everything off because you got a bunch of young, inexperienced backup linemen. There's a drop off in talent, and you would feel comfortable to have a backup tackle, a veteran tackle that you can have on your team that can teach the young guys and also provide some insurance in case of injury. And we know that's something that the Saints have to study on because the reality is at the end of the day, man, listen, we dealt with a lot of that last year, didn't we? A lot of that last year we dealt with. So in the end, man, that's all I got to say, man, is that we doing what we do. All right. So big ups to the fan. Appreciate y'all. for being here. Y'all hit that like button for me, man, as we keep this thing moving and grooving, man. I just got to tell y'all, man, this all good. I don't know what's going on with this thing. All right. Yeah, keep switching. Y'all just deal with it, fam. I'm here in this. I'm here. All right. So anyway, it is what it is. It's crazy software to sound low, but all right. Okay, fam. Listen. So we're gonna keep it going. Outside of that, man, the Saints revealed they had a helmet that they put out. How do y'all feel about the white helmets? I commented on social media about the Saints helmet. Now I don't. The Saints, in my estimation, have not had a white helmet before. I think the white helmet is terrific. I think it'll look good with the cup. And we're just gonna see how it plays, man. In the end, man. I just like the helmet. I think the helmet's gonna be really popping, man. So. All right, sorry about that, fam. Had a little snafu right there. But yeah, the white helmets, how y'all feel about the white helmets, man? We'll see that in the color rush here series here. We hopefully the Saints could be able to do some winning in these white helmets, man, because everything is any difference. We need to see these damn helmets. But anyway, as we keep this thing moving and grooving, man, I like the white helmet, man. I think it's pretty classy, to be honest with you, man. I like how it looks in those white uniforms, and like I said, it's a different look. The black helmet, the Darth Vader helmet, the Black Saints helmet I like that. That's my favorite helmet. I like the black helmet the Saints had. I think that's a pretty cool helmet. But the white one's nice and classy, man. To see that white with the gold in it, man, that's pretty nice, man. They rocked with the color rush. I think that's pretty cool. All right. Yeah. A lot of people kind of like that helmet, man. And let's address this here. Why ESPN gave Saints worst 2025 off-season grade. They gave them the worst grade there. As we see some of the stuff there. We talked about that with the Derek Carr thing. And like I said, man, there are people that just have an opinion about the Saints at the quarterback position. If you have an inexperienced quarterback, that kind of usually means you're going to suffer some losses. And this is true. Having quarterbacks that are inexperienced can be a problem. But there, like I said, there's ways to handle inexperience. It's running attack and defense and decent special teams will help you get through it while they gain experience. And like we said about Tyler Shutt, Tyler's been like 7 years in college. He spent 7 years in college, right? 7 years. He's 26 years old, coming up soon. Damn. So, so they counting on the experience, all of the years in college that it matured them, because that's very abnormal to have people that stay that long. Now you had Bo Nix did it, and he kind of went. It took as much time as he could take, but it's a little different because Bo Nix was playing the majority of the time. So how does that work on this side when Bo Nix went when he was at Auburn? He was starting there. When he transferred and left elsewhere, he was actually playing games, right? And he didn't get hurt like Tyler did. So it is going to be interesting how the effect happens from the opposite side, because he's really working with 1 year of full development here. So it's a big gamble, right? If he's the guy, it could very well be Spencer. You see what I'm saying? It could very well be Spencer Rattler, who could be the guy taking off for the team. So it's going to be huge, but that is one of the main reasons that's impacting people's mentalities outside the building about why the Saints' success is going to be limited. They keep saying, "Nah, go get a veteran quarterback." And they're saying, no, we're not going to get a veteran because we got to eventually build up these young guys and give them the playing time. We don't need a old veteran guy here. Maybe you for depth, whatever. This injuries start coming here. But in terms of them, they made the decision that these guys are going to be the guys competing for the future of the team, which is a good thing because they have to get the experience some kind of way, right? So it is what it is. They got to get the damn experience some kind of way. So a veteran quarterback would just get in the way. All right. So anyway, yeah, that's some of the stuff that we talk about. I think that's going to be one of the factors. As you can see, I'll put that up here. This is the Saints depth chart right here. And like I said, I think a big part of the Saints running attack is there. The kick return aspect, too, is something to talk about with Velus Jones Jr. A lot of people don't know who Velus is. Velus is basically, he played wide receiver for the Bears, running back. He's very talented, but he's a guy that's looked at as possibly being a returner. He's possibly being the guy that could be the return man for you and kind of takes some of the emphasis off, I guess you would say, off of Rashid Shaheed, perhaps, and allowing him to do that. So it'll be interesting to see how it all shakes moving forward, man. But the Saints, in my opinion, man, this team is going to be a little bit better, especially in the special team and defensive area. And if they hold true to that identity, and that's also a part of it too, fam, is that how good could the Saints be from a intelligence standpoint? How smart will the Saints be? That is also a part of it. So if they have a chance just like any damn body else. All right. Shout out to the fam. That's what I got right there, man. I was trying not to hold you too long. What's up, Bev? Shout out to you, Big Valley, and in the building as well. Youngblood says, Q, I noticed that Marcus Williams is a free agent. Do you think the Saints should take a flyer on him for safety depth? I would have to say no, sir. We do not. No disrespect to Marcus Williams, but I think we've seen enough of Marcus Williams for a lifetime. All right, so that'll be a no on that, sir. I appreciate the question, my brother. All right, shout out to Mr. Bonds. Richard says, do you think that we could really add Lyle? I would really like our line. He says it would be depth that would protect when injuries come. I think that it's an interest from Collins. There's a relationship with Collins there with Kellen. They know. I don't think money would be a problem or an issue. So to me, it makes sense. He's a veteran tackle. He won't cost a lot of money. The coach knows him. Why not, right? I think it makes good sense. I really do think it makes good sense. All right, Mr. Bond says, I think the Saints will win the NFC South this year. They very can. They very could. They could. That's the point of the broadcast, that the Saints' chances as good as anybody else. It could be better based on the fact that the Saints are getting this underdog or this thought process, or they're not going to be very good. And they're giving the Saints the first overall draft pick. I just don't think our bad is better than the rest of these other people's bads. Like you got on your schedule there, you got teams that finished dead last in the conference. Not one of these in their divisions, rather. Not all of these teams that finished last are going to make that drastic of improvement and leapfrog to become number one in their respective divisions, right? We know it just doesn't work like that. A lot of the teams we played were teams that were horrible. Now, I do think the reason why the Saints lost a lot of games last year outside of when talking about the injuries was non-leadership and accountability on this team led by a dumb coach. Let's just be real. Let's just be honest. The Saints lacked a lot of self-discipline. They lacked a lot of leadership at the head coach level. A lot of excuses was being made that shouldn't have been made. I don't think you have that this year. You got a guy that's a lot more gifted than the last guy we had here. I just think that guy's a way better leader than that other clown we had here. He gonna be in the locker room throwing this damn team under the bus or violating competition rules by moving quarterbacks around so they don't be competition to each other. I don't think this other guy is going to do that. So you base that on the fact that all the talent the Saints have and a few additions could really put the Saints in a very interesting position. And a few additions is a backup offensive lineman veteran, a wide receiver vet that's 6'2" or taller, and a cornerback, a veteran cornerback addition. Think about that. 3 players to improve the team and watch you take a step. Then you're not playing with any of the garbage of, oh, they're a top 10 team, all this kind of nonsense. Basically, every game you're going to be looked at as an underdog, at least through halfway of the season, if you're running the ball, playing defense, and your special teams is decent. They're not that bad of. This is not that bad of a team, is what I'm saying. We've seen bad garbage teams before. We've seen them. The Saints are not that. They're not a burnt out dumpster team. I'm just saying. A lot of stuff happened. What's up, King Eternal? A lot of stuff happens because of leadership issues with the team. We had a bad coach, an awful coach, the last couple of years. The guy stunk, right? All right, God forever loves you network. Thank you, fam. Appreciate it. I like the white helmets. White helmets are very clean, man. I think it's very respectable. Yeah, I'm going to have to say I know the Marcus Williams, my brother. All right, Brother Gundam says, I think we've seen enough of Marcus. We have, haven't you? Yeah, it's just one thing. He also adds, we lost a lot of games because Carr was terrified in pocket. That's one. Yeah, he was getting hit. The offensive line wasn't that good with him when they started getting the drop off, and the fact that the Saints did not have a good plan, right? They didn't have a really good plan. And we talked about this all the time. It's like when McCoy went down, it was like, oh man, it was just too much. I'm like, why? Why? I mean, I can understand you will take a step back if your quarterback gets hurt. But if your center gets hurt, you mean to tell me they didn't even have a backup center on the team? They had to shift the line. When you do that, you don't have a true backup center when you shift the line. You're trying to avoid any more movement when that kind of stuff happens. You got to have a backup center that step right in there and assumes those roles to try to keep things running. They didn't even have a backup center. That's how stupid that guy was. They didn't have a backup center. They were not prepared properly outside of just the injuries. It was. And it wasn't just last year, it was the year before that. That guy was just a bad coach. He was bad. He didn't know what he was doing. So, I mean, it's a part of the game. I have a way higher opinion of Kellen Moore, right? What's up, Eugene? Shout out to you, fam. He says, don't feel advantage probably returns in 26 or 27. It could be this year. It could be in 25. If the Saints are running the ball and playing defense and special teams are different, don't feel advantage comes back. Because all you want them to do is play hard. And I just see the temperament of some of these players. Even the young players you got, and Spencer Rattler and Tyler Shuck, their mentality is not the excuse make or to come out. Them guys want to compete and win. That gives you a chance right there. It gives you a chance, straight up. All right, Soldier of Many said, I'm trying to believe in Penny. Penny, the Saints are too, right? All right, Reginald says, Wilkes remembered him. Frank Warren, yeah, Jim Wilkes, Frank Warren, all those gathers. He says, Tony Elliott, old school D-line. It's going to be cool to see that again. What's up, Keith Chosen One? Shout out to you, man. All right. Eugene says, I got the coolest look amongst all Saints. Thank you, man. Appreciate you. All right. But yeah, leadership means everything to your organization, fam. You got a good young leader in Kellen Moore. They finally got it right. You made all the mistakes. Like we spent the last 4 odd years dealing with a guy we knew wasn't going to take us anyplace. I mean, Peyton handed them a team that gave them all that, and we just didn't go nowhere in 4 years. It feels differently because we know that the guy has innovation. He's a young guy the team can grow with. So I like that. And then, of course, on the other side, the basketball side of the thing, we talked about the leadership aspect. The Saints have some of the not the Saints, the New Orleans team, the basketball team has some of the worst leadership ever. I mean, seriously, they had some real garbage administrators. I mean, for real. Then you get Joe Dumars here, who's a top 50 Hall of Fame player, won 2 championships, respected about the greatest player in the world, right? Then you have him coming in, winning as an administrator. That's the smartest the Pelicans or the basketball side ever had. They didn't have anybody who came close at the last guy won the championship because LeBron was telling them what to do. They never had that. So you look at it and you say, hey, man, these people are pointed in the right direction. It's only a matter of time. I see it. The leadership is key. You've got to have the right people there. You got to have people that have the courage to take it there. You know, we for a long time, we was dealing with a lot of people that we know didn't give us a chance. So it feels different, man. That's why I said, don't be listening to a lot of these people that tell you the Saints going to be the number 1 team picking in the draft. I'm like, no, hell no. We ain't going to be going picking in no damn draft. You crazy. We still got Elman's going to be hurt. All the Chris Olaves and these players are good. These guys are good. You got somebody that can throw them the ball. You got a line to protect them. They're going to be running the ball. The defense is going to be above decent. Got good special teams. You just have to have the spirit to go out and compete every damn Sunday or Thursday or Monday whenever they play. Right? Probably ain't gonna be playing too many games. They ain't got many games. They playing no games in prime time. King Eternal said, "Hey Q, if we're 0-4 to start the season, and we make it to the easy teams, do you think we can make a run if the games were close?" It's interesting, bro. 0-4. Well, let's take a look at the schedule. Let's look at the schedule to kind of answer your question here. Here go the Saints schedule right here. The first 4 games is against Arizona, San Fran, Seattle, and Buffalo. So you got 2 at home against Arizona and San Fran, and 2 away in Seattle and Buffalo, and for September. 0-4 means you lose to all of those teams, which I don't think the Saints lose to Arizona. Maybe San Fran, because San Fran's, we'll see. But then again, it's still early. They trying to figure it out just fine. You get a tough San Francisco team, Seattle out there. They trying to figure out. You get these teams early, you never know what's going to happen because they're not in regular season form right away, right? So you don't exactly know what you're going to get. It's different when we see a San Francisco in week 10 or a Buffalo in week 12 or something like that versus seeing them in the first month of the season. But if 0-4 is what it is, can we then turn it around? Well, the next 4 will be against New York, New England, Chicago, and Tampa Bay. Then you have Los Angeles, and then you get Carolina before you hit the bye in week 11. So it's I don't think they go open 0-4 to open it up, to be honest with you, bro. I don't think they go 0-4. And I don't think New York is going to be all that good. No disrespect to New York. I think New England is not going to be a juggernaut. New England are not juggernaut team. Now, Chicago is going to probably be a lot better because of them picking up the offensive coordinator from the Detroit Lions. I think he is going to have a spark in Chicago. I don't know how good they're going to be, but I think they'll be better than what they were last year. And Tampa Bay will be the team you open up the NFC South. Your first NFC South game against Tampa Bay in the Dome. So can the Saints do that? So yeah, I don't think they're going on. I don't think they start off 0-4. And I do think that New England and New York are very winnable games. So I would have to say, yeah, could he says, can we make a run if games are close? Indeed you can. Indeed you can. I don't see, like I said, we set the Saints. Can Kellen Moore set the Saints on fire? Can he give them an identity? Because last 4 years, the Saints have not, and that's the whole thing about winning as a team. Part of the win as a team, you got to be unified in thought, right? If you're getting all these people from all over different spaces and places, and you put them together on the team, say, hey, let's go out and win. You got to give them a roadmap to how to do it and a unified thought process on team principles and the identity of what it takes to win. And that's how all of these other teams that's out here that's winning these damn games are winning, because they're playing to the identity of who they are. We don't have that. Not the last 4 years. When Sean Payton was running the team, they had an identity. And they had success for a long time, despite the fact that the NFL is notorious for studying film and figuring out ways how to stop you from doing what you're doing and forcing you to pivot to the next option or the next option or the next option or the next option. That's literally how it is. And then you have to keep reinventing, keep tweaking, keep turning, keep moving, keep adjusting, keep adapting. It's a constant live thing going on. It's literally living movements. And the Saints couldn't do that at all the last 4 years. They couldn't do it. If I take this away from you, what you gonna do? Remember Kubiak? His 1-2 go move was go get just overuse Taysom Hill. Excuse me. And when Taysom gets hurt, what he does? What do you do after that? That's what I'm saying, man. At the end of the day, you got to keep adapting, keep changing, keep moving. And you also have to have the mentality of, regardless of what's going on, I'm going to stay true to who I am and what I do. And if we can establish that, man, you know how big that is? You know how astronomically big that is? If he can establish that, that would be huge. All right. So anyway, Marcus, shout out to you, brother. Good to see you in the chat, man. Dylan, what's happening, brother? Good to see you, King Eternal. All right. He said San Fran gonna be tough. Okay. Eternal said personally trust that Kellen can definitely have this team's motor around. I think he can, bro. I think he can. Because listen, it's the caveat things that we even talk about is the fact that you taking the energy of, you got the offensive coordinator and his top guy and some of his top people over here with him from running that offense, and they just did whatever they wanted to do in the playoffs, and you got that guy running your football team with that offense coming over here. So you bring all of that Super Bowl energy and that excitement to the Saints. It ain't something we forgot. Like, he won it 3 or 4 years ago. Now this is recent. So you got a guy that won recently bringing that energy in here now. That got a lot of these guys' attention right off the bat. Yeah, we were just here last year. We can do that here. He talking like that to him. So, and no doubt about it, they have the environment and the coaching, the innovation. They got the proper coaches. We got some of the players. We had a few here, there, and I'm telling you guys that we ain't no 1, 2, 3, whatever they trying to call us in the whatchamacallit, the draft. Got us taking Nussmeier. Man, get out of here. Reginald says Saints start Shuck and have Radley as a backup, which thank you. See what happens to that. Thank you, fam. Tyler Shuck is the guy that they want to start, no doubt about it, because that's their guy. We've seen that happen the last 3 years, right? We've seen other guys take their guy. We've seen them take Jake Hayner with Pete Carmichael. We've seen Kubiak take Spencer Rattler. That was his guy. Nussmeier likes Tyler Shuck. So, of course, and he's 26, so, of course, they want him to win the job because that's the anointed quarterback. And he has to, because he don't have a long time here. I mean, he's 20. He got to go right. He got to hit it right now. 7 years of college. He sit up there at 26 years age. And if Spencer Rattler keeps him on the bench, I mean, they gave up a second-round draft pick and took all kind of hits for that. Now, the thing is, will people lambaste him one way or the other if one succeeds over another? No. We don't care as long as you win. You heard me? I'm saying we don't care if, as long as you're winning. We don't give a rat's ass about Chuck in the second round selection. Be real, right? If the Saints are winning games, right? If they win in games, do we give a rat's ass about Tyler Shuck being the second round draft pick? The answer is obviously in a clear and resounding no. We don't care. We don't care as long as you're winning. Trust me on that. As long as you are winning, we don't care about that. That's what it is. So ain't no sense trying to talk the people out of it because that's the environment. The reality is the Saints faithful, they've heard every excuse in the book. We heard all the stuff about look beyond the results. Don't believe your lying eyes. We heard all of that. We heard all the excuses, this type of thing. We seen coach blame his wide receiver and back to court. We seen it all. But in the end, what we need to see is winning. Or at least if you're winning, you're not winning, you fighting your tails off every game and giving yourself an opportunity to win. That's what we care about. You see, that's one thing they don't say. Like, oh, they just so rabid. No, we rabid when you bull crap. When you make excuses and you run interference. Yeah, we're going to tell you a new one. But outside of that, all we care about is you winning. And if Tyler Shuck, who's the second round, if he loses to Spencer Rattler in the competition and Spencer is in there winning, I don't care about all that other stuff. Because I know sooner or later, when Tyler gets his chance, he'll be ready to go. He might need to sit down a little bit, but that's all right. As long as the Saints are winning, we'll give you a pass on that. We'll let you make it. As long as you're winning, or if you're losing games, you in there fighting every moment and minute. That's what we talk about. That's how it goes. Look at the family saying exactly true. That's what we care about. Like us, we so rabid as a base, like we don't think. No, hell no. Nah. You can't tell us everything or anything either. King said, I think Rattler would have to be far away better than Shuck. Absolutely. We know this already. He has a favorite, and it is okay for him to have a favorite, to like something more than something else. It's okay. That's your God-given right. He drafted Shuck, right? That's his guy. The other guy wasn't good enough to stay here. He was too stupid to know how to use his offensive plays or to delve into options beyond one or two or whatever he had. He was easily figured out. That's why I'm not worried about that Seattle game. I'm not worried about that Seattle game at all. I know that guy don't know. That guy, if you take away his first options, that dude fall apart. He don't know what. I'm not worried about the offensive coordinator up there in Seattle. I'll tell you straight off the bat. That, and this is just what it is. If Shuck is their appointed guy, if Tyler Shuck loses, if it's going to be a loss and Spencer wins, Spencer will have to thoroughly outplay him to the point where it is obvious. It can't be close. If it's close, Tyler Shuck gonna get the call. It's just what it is. Because the man, even though he might respect these players, he got his own people he brought in. He gonna want his guy to play, and the goddamn guy gonna be 26 years old. Gonna be 26. So the only way Tyler Shuck doesn't start is if Spencer Rattler does not blow the competition away. That's how it goes, right? That's how I see it, man. Y'all know it, and I know it too. All right, Willie says Shuck haven't signed yet. He might not even make it to camp. I think he will, bro. What the date is today. We've seen this before. We've seen this before. Hold on here. Let me see. Hold on here, fam. Let me look at the calendar. Y'all let me see here. And what damn date is it? The 13th. Okay. Today the 13th. The 19th is this upcoming Saturday, right? All right, I had to look at my phone. But the 19th is this upcoming Saturday. We all know that. Isn't that the date that most of the players, the second round picks, sign? In Saints history, in the recent history of guys that held out, they signed right before camp, maybe 2 or 3 days before camp started, right? That guy ain't gonna miss no camp. Listen, he's behind. The people saying, oh, Tyler Shuck is ahead. No, he's not. And he knows that he cannot, he's going to be adamant about that deal getting done. They're going to be adamant about it. Because if he doesn't get his, and I want him to get his money, but he also knows that every moment or snap or rep you give Spencer Rattler, it's going to be against you, baby. So that boy ain't going to miss no time. I'm telling you. Spencer is for real. Spencer's like, man, listen, this is my chance and I'm taking it. But trust me, Tyler Shuck is not going to be like, oh man, I'm just going to, no. Absolutely. Tron says cute. What do you think of, who do you think going to be the top two running backs? Top two running backs, AK-41, obviously, right? And of course, if Kendre Miller remains healthy, he will be that second guy. Kendre Miller he was really good in college. Kendre Miller, when healthy, is a good back. He's a really solid complement for Alvin Kamara's speed and versatility. Kendre Miller is strong, he's powerful. That injuries is just a terrible part of the game that's kind of stopped and stalled him. But when he did get in there, you seen him like I said, one of his greatest gifts is to make the tackler miss on that first. When that first guy gets to him, he got a step that makes him miss, and he able to climb to the second level. He got that. He's really good at that. Getting the guy, getting past that first guy, getting the miss on that first step, and then power into that second level. Right now, he's the guy. Now, we know Devin Neal is still a rookie. He got a lot to learn. We know Cam Akers is here. Cam Akers is not quite the same Cam that we've seen with the Rams. He had the injury issue, kind of slowed him down. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is versatile. You can move him around and use him, but make no qualms about it. And that is still Kendre's job right now. And if only way for him to lose it is that he has to get hurt or, but he it's definitely his. He understands what he's got to do. He's got to stay healthy. But if Kendre Miller is healthy, it's definitely his job, bro. So I'll probably say that's number two guys right there. All right. All right. Shout out to you. Thank you for the question, bro. Gundam says he's a favorite, but he better succeed with him. I put my money on Spencer. Like I said, either way, bro, we win as a support base because whether it's Tyler or whether it's Spencer, we gonna have success here because both of those guys are serious competitors. They really want it. You see what I'm saying? None of them has been handed the job yet. So it's a full-out competition for the QB job. And there are only so many of them in the entire NFL. So we win here by watching the competition. That's why I'm like, I don't think Tyler Shuck he's not going to be in camp. He's going to be signed and in camp. He cannot give Spencer Rattler, any more time than what he's already given him. What's up, Rome? Shout out, man. All right. Yeah, shout out, fam. All right. Digital Warrior says Louisville's Tyler Shuck will surprise entire NFL. Louis Red. Yeah. And that's not hard to believe. He's going to take time because attribute-wise, he has and he's really not a Saints pick type quarterback. The Saints have been like, prior to this, it's like taking 6-foot quarterback, 6'1" quarterback, stuff like that, right? You get Tyler Shuck, 6'5", tall quarterback, strong arm, has a degree of accuracy with him, could make the throws at 3 different levels. He also has a degree of above normal athletic ability for a 6'5" quarterback like that. He could throw on the run too. And he's a smart quarterback and a team guy. And the fact that even though he was banged up and injured, this is true, and he spent 7 years in college being hurt, he never gave up. And that's something I got to tell the man. That's true. He never gave up. How many people would say, man, Tritt, I keep getting hurt. I'm done. Tritt, I'll go just be an assistant on somebody's team, just helping somebody else be a quarterback. The man says, nah, I got a dream and I'm going to live it. That's what he did. Got to give him respect for that. 7 years. He played 1 full healthy season, and he worked his ass off to get through that broken collarbone and all that other stuff, the broken leg, with the shoulder issue he had, playing behind guys trying to compete and this type of stuff. So I got to give him a big check for the fact that he, as a person, as a competitor, did not give up. And he's seen his dream through and got drafted into the NFL despite all of that stuff. So even though you look at the scout, because the scouting report says, hey, man, don't sign that guy. Don't draft that guy. The scouting report will tell you that because of the ugly injury history, the fact that he only had 1 year of verified success as a quarterback, but There is no, I guess, way that you can measure the heart. I ain't talking about the blood pumping and all that. I'm talking about the intangible stuff that's inside of a person that gives them such an unshakable resolve. Because some people would just stop and do something else. That man said, no, I'm going to keep going. And that's your quarterback. So regardless of not how you feel about him, you cannot dispute that. How many people do that? So you got a guy that's a fighter. You got a guy that, and Spencer is the same way. Spencer had some stuff going on with him. People kind of threw him down. He was once a top guy up there. He got thrown down, and people like, yeah, this type of thing. Plays with a chip on his shoulder, thought he should have been drafted higher in the draft. He got picked up in the 5th round. He holds that back and has a chip on his shoulder, and he kind of has a calm demeanor because I'm going to show y'all. That's inside, right? But you got two of those type of guys as your quarterbacks. That's why I said we win here. Regardless of who win, we win because we got guys like that running the quarterback position. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. That's unbelievable to me. You got people like that. I love that. All right. Shout out to you. Chase says Saints are going to win NFC South division this year. Thank you, sir. Put that out there. Jan Doe says, I hope Kendrick learned the playbook. Y'all ready for we'll see, bro. But you can run it. Because you got athletic quarterbacks enough to run that style if you want to do that. Saints are versatile enough to do that. Because despite the fact that we talk about the size at the wide receiver levels and all this kind of stuff, we still have athletes all over the place. Chris Olave takes the top off. Rashid Shaheed takes the top off again. And Brandon Cook, still as old as he is, still has a degree of speed. So the Saints are fast. And we have Donovan Peoples-Jones, who's a wide receiver who had some success in Cleveland. How does it change? And then, of course, you're looking to see if a free agent acquisition is brought into camp or who steps up outside of the big three. Who are the next guys up in the wide receiver room to step up outside of the big three there? Who are they? Is it Donovan Peoples? Is it Bub Means? Is it what's his name? Kevin Alston? Is it him? Who is it? Is it Mason Tipton? Is it Dante Pettis? Somebody or Baptiste have to step up in the second area of the wide receiver room and make their presence known. Somebody got to step up, right? Somebody. So, yeah, that's what I'm talking about, the resolve of the team. I love that. If you got a quarterback, that's why I can respect Tyler Shuck because he didn't give up. You look at Spencer Rattler, he got drafted not in the 5th round. He was kind of upset about that, but that calm demeanor, and you got them two guys clashing, fighting for the quarterback job, man. Shit, that'll work. That'll work. We're going to get some good stuff here. Tron says whoever starts going to be a dog because they stood out more and took the spot. Indeed, it's going to be a fight. But whoever win, make no bones about it, we win as a support base. Because whoever going to win is going to be a dog. And that's what you want there. You want a dog. All right, King says Shuck has fire in him, and Spencer does too. See, y'all saying it. That's why I was saying in the show that in talking about the NFC South chances of that, we talk about the youth, but the temperament of the guy at the quarterback position means everything. You don't have a weakling there. You don't have a wussy guy there. You don't have that kind of stuff going on. You got guys that got unshakable resolves, that are competitors, that want to win, and that is going to do everything positively possible to accomplish that result. And that's all you can really request if you're a supporter, is lay it on the line. We lay it out on the line. We want you to do it too. And Brother Bonds says defense will be the X factor. All right. Yeah, the defense is going to be huge, man. Like I said, I like a lot of the acquisitions that they got on defense. And I think a lot of people not really kind of getting into that, kind of talking about a lot of those guys on defense, man. Like I talked about Devin Gotchel, the defensive tackle they brought in, Vernon Brockton, looking at his tape. Brian Bresee really ready to take that step. Brian Bresee's really ready. He has 7.5 sacks last year, people. Brian Bresee in a 34 defense, man. Oh, my goodness, man. And then Vernon Brockton, when he finally is ready, he play on the opposite side of him. Could you imagine? Because they play the same. If you watch the tape, they play the exact same way. Big guys, big guys as 300 pounders, but they don't move like 300 pounds. They move like they 260 pounds, 270 pounds. You know, they got light feet. They move very well for 300-pound men. Incredibly disruptive. So the Saints knew what they was doing, man. They basically started you ought to have a good 3-4. You got to be mean up front. You got to have guys that's about that work. Do we have those guys? Y'all tell me. All right, what's up, T Dirty? Shout out to my brother T Dirty, man. Good to see you, man. Much love, my brother. Good to see you out there. All right. And then, of course, one final thing. Your Black Major says, I think Spencer is like that, Mahomes 2.0. Yeah, we seen him standing next to aesthetically. You know, I mentioned it on social media when it was at the golf tournament. I think it was a golf tournament they were at. And Spencer had wasn't Pat Mahomes had his arm around Spencer. It was at the golf. He was standing next to him. Y'all know the picture. And I remember looking at Mahomes and you look at Spencer, that's a big jump because Mahomes is extraordinary. But Spencer Rattler aesthetically mirrors him. And you can see some of that in his game, but he still has levels to go. But the reality is, man, listen, you don't think Spencer Rattler know that if he has a clear opportunity when Derek Carr retired, that opened up, he's like, man, I can start. I got a chance to start. I got a year this type of number. And off season, what has Spencer been doing? Working on his game. Even before the draft happened, Spencer Rattler was out there working on his game. He won it. He won it. It won't come easy for Tyler. It's going to be a battle. And that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm enthused about. Y'all see, I'm ready to go. All right, Reginald says Moore has something to prove. Offense will be better than last year. They're going to run the ball. We know that, don't we? They're going to run the football. I wouldn't be surprised, like I told y'all, if the Saints keep 4 running backs on here. 4 running backs to run it because it has to be the fact that they're going to run the ball because you can't rely on an inexperienced quarterback. You got to give them a tight end for a safety blanket. We know this. You got to be able to protect them with a good offensive line, but you have to be able to run the football. That's it, to take pressure off a young signal caller. The defense has to create short fields and turnovers and don't allow for people to run on them. So that's the big thing. Can the Saints defense stop the run? Did they do enough and put enough key people there to prevent them getting ran on? You know, I think the Saints will be all right in the secondary because if you look at the cornerbacks, the safeties are off the chain. Tyrann Mathieu and Justin Reed. You know, and then Alante. I'm looking for Alante to step up, man, and become like one of the best cornerbacks we've seen. And Kool-Aid McKinstry going into his second year, and count on the Saints signing a veteran. So I mean, we got some positive stuff outside of Isaac Yillen and Ugo Amadi. I don't want to throw Ugo, you know, and not because a lot of people are forgetting that Ugo is also playing there as well. So we're gonna see. We're gonna see. Listen, we got a chance, man. We got a chance. We're going to see this camp is going to be one of the best camps we've seen in a long time, man. It's going to be one of the best camps, man. Anyway, with that being said, fam, listen, that's all I got for y'all today. I know y'all are having a good time this weekend, man. Much love to the fam. I'm sorry about my mic. I don't know what's going on with this crazy software. It keeps, I don't know what's going on. It keeps messing with my mic. I have to do something, look into it after the stream, figure out what's going on. But I promise I'll be back and better for the next broadcast. So anyway, with that being said, man, listen, man, do your boy service. Hit the like button, hit the sub button, and sub up. It's black and gold. We in the building. We getting closer and closer to the season. I'm looking at it. And then also, listen, fam, we've been TSC Unleashed. We're doing that, bringing that back at this time as well. We always cycle it around, but I guess I do TSC Unleashed because I do all these other shows, the boxing stuff that we talked about. I know they had a bunch of. I was watching Pelicans play last night. I was watching boxing. I was in sports nirvana. last night. I was watching the Pels play. Pels ain't look like much last night, but I was watching a lot of boxing. I seen Shiraz knock out Berlanga. I seen that happen for my boxing heads. Shakur Stevens looked really good in the matchup with William Zapata. We seen that happen there, you know. And I'll be covering a lot of this on Ring Kings Boxing. So yeah, a lot of good boxing that went on last night in that place as well. So yeah, it was a really good sports weekend for us here. And like I said, I can't wait for the Saints season to start. Getting really excited about that, man. It's going to be all right. King Eternal, thank you, brother. Appreciate you. 5 weeks away, OG. That's right. We're getting there, brother. It's getting there, man. That's what I'm talking about. But anyway, let me get on out of here, man. Listen, y'all have a great rest of y'all day. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. I love y'all. Y'all keep y'all heads up. Stay positive. And I'm going to holler at you on the next one. Much love. Who that to you? Peace.
Yeah. Boogie like Vincent, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, 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 huh? Boogie like Vincent, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Sports coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like Elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your shame for the championship. Bucking on town, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy and you probably smell the crooked referees on Roger Goodell. Yeah, fucking like this and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the sports coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like this and I'm a who that. It's the sports coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
WhoThatDaily.com. That's right, the WhoThatDaily.com. Your one-stop shop for everything New Orleans Saints, New Orleans Pelicans, LSU Tigers, even the top flight boxing news. So if you're a Who That and you're looking for a place to stay up on your team, WhoThatDaily.com is your site. The WhoThatDaily.com for the sport Who That in all of us. That's right, the Pro Shop is the platform's store where you can go and buy all the latest merch to support the platform. Available at the Pro Shops, we have dozens of hundreds of products available for you and your family. Unisex tees for men and women, hoodies and sweatshirts, tank tops, kids and baby items, long sleeve tees, mugs, pillows, wall art, bath bedding, Face masks, phone cases, stickers, bags, fanny packs, socks, hats, and many other items. Please feel free to check out the Pro Shops. The link is in the description section below. Remember, it helps the platform continue to grow. Check out the Pro Shop and who that is.
Hey, Ryan Reynolds here for Mint Mobile. Now, I first ditched big wireless and started using Mint Mobile way back in 2019. Back then, you could get premium wireless for only $15 a month. Today, Mint Mobile's premium wireless has gone up by... Okay, wow, that's it, zero. It's gone up $0 a month since 2019. That doesn't seem fiscally responsible to me, but again, you're welcome. And I'm not an accountant. Hate math, always hated math. True story, I was in math 10A when I was in 12th grade.
Being amazing is uncomplicated with Tiege Hanley's simplified skincare system. Here's how it works. Go to Tiege.com, pick your system, and get handsome. 3 simple steps. Wash, scrub, and moisturize. It's that simple.
Guys, go to Tiege.com and get started today.
To be a therapist, in my opinion, is one of the most humbling things ever.
A platform like BetterHelp is very important because it allows access to affordable mental health care.